Hi guys, just coming at you guys with a quick nightly message. You know how I do. If you are new here, I do post videos or go live, at night. Um, I just don't leave them online sometimes. But all you have to do is turn on your post notifications so you're notified when I do go on live. I'm not on here every day. I'm not going to stay on too long because I don't feel that great, but I wanted to come on live because I know that you guys have been possibly seeing news footage and little snippets of different things happening around the world via social media. And I know what you're seeing is super scary. I have been watching lots of TikToks, lots of people talking and giving their 2 cents, different religious backgrounds, different political backgrounds, just all different types of people. And I just want you to know that what you consume, okay, whether it be food, what you're ingesting or what you're visualizing, looking at, is something that you need to pay attention to. Yes, it's very sad. It's very scary for some people, but you got to understand that they do feed off of your fear. If there is an agenda, right? Because everybody has their theories of, you know, um, end of the world and prophecies and all that stuff. But you do have to understand that there are, people and entities out there that do not want us to ascend, to evolve, to be free. And if they are um, behind some of the world events, it is to scare you. Now, another thing is, this is um, a pivotal time in human history. And you do have to understand that just like we go through towers, we go through changes to planet, and collectively, everything goes through changes and transformations. And part of transformations means that there has to be a destruction phase, and then, so that there could be a reconstruction phase. So I do want you to understand that it is very sad and it is um, very unfortunate because a lot of people are losing their lives or being displaced. Um, However, there are things that need to be purged, okay? Things underground, okay? If you know, you know, that need to be purged. A lot of the flooding and the waters and the holes opening up is exposing a lot of things that are hidden beneath us that we don't have, some of us are not aware of. Um, so, yes, be prepared, but please understand that your fear is just feeding them because collectively, if you can get everybody to believe the same thing, they can fulfill their agenda. If they have you guys believing it's the end of the world, chaos, people scrambling, people afraid, they're feeding off of that. So you just need to understand that we're going through a transformation. Um, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia is purging, she's cleansing, she's going through her own transformation. Um, there's just a lot going on, and I'm not going to go into, but I just want you guys to know, do not fear, okay? Um, if you are, someone that considers yourself Christian or consider yourself um, like Orthodox and you really believe in the Bible, you should be rejoicing because based off of your biblical prophecy, it says, certain events have to take place. And if you are righteous, your sins have already been paid for, correct? If that's what you believe. I see a lot of Christians on TikTok crying and shaking in their boots. And, understand that a lot of people didn't realize that the time is nigh. They thought they can, do whatever they want. And then Oh, now all of a sudden everybody's scrambling. Everybody's like, oh, let me get right. And that is, what we should be doing, getting right. No judgment, but you going online, projecting your fear, everybody watching you, getting fearful, you're just adding fuel to the fire. So just be careful with that, you guys. Um, please. I don't know how else to explain it. Hey, Miss Hagar. I don't know how else to articulate it. I'm not saying don't have sympathy or compassion for people in your own country and in other countries, because don't think that it's not going to be happening here. If you really pay attention, it is happening here. What's the problem is, a lot of this stuff was not on the news. It's not on the news for a reason. So y'all didn't know a lot of the shit was happening because a lot of you guys were distracted by social media, by wanting to live a fake luxury lifestyle, by watching celebrities and following gossip. Yeah, I did not know that this shit was happening, but it is happening. It's been happening, and it's going to get worse. And it's going to be in your backyard soon. So heed the warnings, get prepared, do as much as you can. Don't be afraid. Use your knowledge and your faith to get through it. And if you can help, help. Okay. But me personally, um, I'm not gonna say I'm like 100% happy, but I mean, you guys, it's like what I don't like about society is that when something comes out, such as child or human sex trafficking, it's hot for a second and you guys move on to the next thing. This shit has been going on for way too long. Millions of people go missing. People been talking about this. Children have been coming out saying what's been done to them. They're doing rituals, they're killing people, they're slaughtering our children, they're stealing our harvesting people's organs, people are going missing. And then they put those people's flesh in our food supply. Please understand that if you claim to be on the right side, I don't know what to call it, and you claim to be chosen or awakened or woke, understand that in order for this planet and the collective to have a fighting chance, you're gonna have to accept what comes with this purge and this ascension and everything else that goes with it. You got principalities, you have all kind of entities, intellectual beings, smarter than us, way more advanced than us, trying to prevent us from being able to, you know, have access to knowledge and information. And they're feeding off of us. It's everywhere. It's in your music, your celebrities talk about it. They are blatantly in your face telling you that they work with demons. Some of them are demons. Some of them do rituals. They eat babies. They say this shit in their music. I don't understand. Like y'all listen to this music, and it's right there, and you guys just it's like you're oblivious to it. Then you turn around and say I'm Christian. Make it make sense. Anyways, there is too much crime, and there is too much, just so much happening on this planet. It has to stop. But y'all not ready for that conversation yet. It's only big when it's happening to you or someone close to you or in your backyard. But when it's happening, it's been happening. Child slavery's been happening. Sex trafficking been happening. Kidnapping has been happening. Nobody's really taking it serious. Yeah, there's a few people that are advocating who are talking about it, but the majority isn't saying anything. And they're eating our children. They got to go. I don't talk about this type of stuff, but one thing about me, I'm not afraid to speak my truth. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to um, expend my energy on a bunch of people who don't want to wake up, because we can't really change. We can't really force anybody to wake up. We can't make anybody wake up. But you need to understand flooding and all that stuff is purging. There's tunnels under us. Some states no, depending on sea level, but majority of y'all, especially up north, y'all got tunnels and caverns and miles of tunnels and cities under you. Okay? I'm gonna start dropping information so y'all could do the research, so y'all can know what's going on, so y'all could understand how they've been telling you. They have books. They have books in schools where they're talking about eating children, and they have it's in your face, it's in the movies, it's in your music, it's everywhere. It's all in your face. They even had Wayfair. What they did when they caught Wayfair putting all the kidnapped children's names on their furniture, what did they do? They start gifting the influencers with gift cards. And guess what everybody do now? Now everybody's running to all these places that were part of the agenda and buying up their products so that they can live, so they can look like they're living a luxury lifestyle. And they completely forgot about all those kidnapped children. Did y'all forget Wayfair and all those other places, Overstock, with all the kidnapped children's name on it? They named their furniture after children that were missing. Y'all forgot about that. But you're decorating your house with the furniture though. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. This is why I just I'm just kind of like tired of this planet. But anyways, yeah, they do try to censor. They selling organs. Y'all, people have been speaking about this. People in the music industry have been telling you about your favorite celebrities. Yeah, I heard about. I'm not gonna say certain names on my channel. My channel's already shadow banned. But y'all heard about popular names and people that do speak out, they get killed. A lot of your favorite celebrities don't sold their souls. A lot of them are not even them anymore. They're clones. And you don't have to believe it. You may think, oh, that's too far fetched. But baby, when you don't got no food on in your supermarket pantries, and you got to get your eye scanned just to buy something, or you're being told that your money don't have value, then you're gonna wake the fuck up, and then you're gonna see. Every time you play their music, every time you listen to their music, they got y'all under a spell. And you thought it was a joke. You thought, oh, that's conspiracy theories. Oh, those people. Okay. All right. Your favorite celebrities. You will be surprised. Eating babies and bathing in their blood. Anyways, it says, we bet you must be so exhausted some days. I am. Giving as much as you do, sharing your energy. I just talked about this so beautifully in service to the highest good can leave you feeling depleted, like an empty well. If it feels as if there's no more water for you, the good news is we have a plan. Today, go take a relaxing bath, which I just did. I took a break because it's exhausting. Like I literally watched TikTok all day yesterday. I was just looking at all the these are videos. Some of the knowledge is old for me. And I'm not saying that out of ego. It's just I'm 40. And some of this shit I've been new, in my teens. Like this is not nothing new for me. Um, I just had something fly. Anyways. So but the frequency of the things that people are now seeing. I mean, I'm seeing videos that I've never seen before. I literally like seen videos, like real footage of stuff that would fucking make you not be able to go to sleep at night. And I'm new to TikTok. Yeah, I know I just got on TikTok this year. And I kind of regret getting on TikTok because you know what they say, ignorance is bliss. But at the end of the day, this information is important because it's kind of bringing me back to my purpose and what I'm supposed to be talking about. Why don't I choose to talk about certain topics? It's not because I'm afraid. It is because I know that a lot of people don't want to hear it. It is not trending. And even if it is trending, you got to understand that it is a huge risk, you know. Um, you still got to take that into consideration. A lot of people are being attacked spiritually, even when you're laying low, or even when you're not even really divulging information, you get attacked from all angles. Again, I'm not afraid because I know my spiritual team has my back. I'm not new to paranormal activities. I've told you guys all my fucking life I had to fight. Fortunately for me, I'm gonna say I had it easy, because I see things here and there, but I'm not, I don't got to deal with seeing certain things. Some people see shit. Like some people can see dead people, spirits, demons. I don't see none of that because I've not used that part of my gifts because I don't want to. But all my life has been just paranormal activity, and I just got so used to it that it doesn't scare me. It's just it don't scare me. But for people that are not used to certain experiences, be prepared because people are seeing shit. And I'm talking about shapeshifters. That's nothing new. I grew up, my family's from Haiti. So ever since we've been told these things, things that people look at as myths and mystical creatures that are not real, they're real. But anyways, um, and me being from Haiti doesn't necessarily mean, oh, she does voodoo, because a lot of people associate all Haitian people with voodoo. First of all, I have no issues with people who do voodoo. So just to clear that up, I'm just saying that it's just we've been told things, we've been exposed to certain things that you might not have been exposed to, is what I'm saying. So, with that being said, do not give them your power. They feed off of your negative emotions, fear. They whisper in your ears. They act like they are your spirit guides. This is why you think so many people are reading tarot. I mean, everybody and their fucking mama who are not qualified, and yes, I said it, who are not qualified. Back in the day, you couldn't just be on here doing certain things. You have to get initiated. People just be out here just doing whatever and taking people's money and saying whatever. And a lot of people are agents. A lot of people are, being advised by entities that they think are angels, that they think are benevolent. But everybody got a part to play in the story we call life. So it is what it is, but you need to use discernment. I always tell you guys, use discernment, use discernment, use discernment. I say this to you guys all the time. Use discernment. All that glitter isn't fucking gold. Somebody with a whole bunch of subscribers don't mean shit. And just because someone has some sort of information that they read from a book or that they heard somebody else saying, don't mean shit. Don't get lost in the sauce. Hey, Miss Taylor. So Spirit is saying to you, they're saying take a break, take a step back. They know you've been, because a lot of you guys are in the astral putting in that work. You just don't fucking know. You don't know what some of us have to go through. You don't know how some of us are being used. You do not know how some of us are being, I'm going to say it again, you do not know how some of us are being used in the worst ways and the best ways. And when I say the worst ways, I mean the worst ways. And that's on everything. Some people are going through it. Some people are going through it. And you might ask, but what did they do? Why did they? I'm going to tell you right now, you will never have that answer 100%. The one thing I can tell you is everything always comes full circle. And sometimes what we perceive as human, we can't, well, sometimes we can't perceive why or how things work are playing out, right? We don't have the capacity. I don't care how intelligent you think you are, you don't have the capacity to know what that person did in another lifetime or what kind of karma that person has. And yes, that is very real. People think that that shit's not real. People don't understand that a lot of higher beings, because we broke laws, were confined to bodies and to this plane of existence. Why do you fucking think you keep reincarnating? You think it's because somehow you're so much wiser? It's just like you don't, if you've been here a long time or you keep reincarnated, that means you didn't fucking, you haven't, you're unable to leave because A, you still got learning to do, and B, because you can't. I see a lot of people wearing it as a badge of honor. I'm an old soul. Yeah, you didn't graduate. You keep having to take the class over, okay? Anyways, this is make time for self-care. And be sure to use the word that might have caused you anxiety in the past. A lot of you guys have done things in the past. You just don't know. A lot of you guys have done things. A lot of you guys have broke laws, universal laws. And the people you think are in control, you will be fucking surprised. Don't get lost in the sauce. It all sounds really good. Some people are very charismatic. They can talk and they can make it sound real good. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's bigger and beyond your comprehension. And it goes way deeper and is older than Earth. And Earth is old as fuck. Earth is old. Earth is not even this version of Earth. This is one version of Earth. Earth is old. And planets are cells. And if you can understand what that means, then you understand that you will never be able to comprehend in this particular capacity in as being, being human, being in a flesh suit, unless you really on that extra shit, like you really on your shit. And even if you are, Earth is just a cell. And if you understand the human body, we have trillions of them. Trillions. Trillions. And if you look up in the sky, as above, so below, and you see those dots, depending on where you live, there's trillions of them out there. And the universe is just a cluster of cells. There's trillions of them. Make it make sense, but you can't. Because a lot of you guys are not at that level yet. You will get there eventually, hopefully. Um, it says, and be sure to use a word that might have caused anxiety in the past, but is essential for your well being now. No. Say it with us. No, thank you. No, I can't. You do not have to explain. Just say no, gently but firmly. Then go for a soak. Life will wait for you to bring yourself back to center, replenished, and ready for more adventures. Even tarot, even oracle cards, even books, you got to understand that humans write these things. Humans and their beliefs and their thoughts and their understanding and their level of awareness. This is why you have to be careful with everything you do. You're opening up energies and portals, and there are things around you that you can't see that either guide you for your benefit or for your detriment. Next message. We're a chatty bunch over here, always talking about how we support you in in your life's journey. We communicate to you. Didn't I say that they whisper in your ears? We communicate to you, right? Through the languages of oracles, dreams, signs, metaphors, and omens. In your life on earth, however, clarity in your communication is essential to being understood. You don't speak in symbols, and if you did, you would definitely confuse things. Right now, you're facing a situation in which you're being asked to have integrity, be clear, and learn how to ask for your needs be met. First step is to admit out loud that you have needs. The second is to ask out loud for them to be met. They're talking about me in this channel and how I feel like I'm not being supported. Um, because I'm going against the grain. I'm not following the order of things. The algorithm controls people, and I don't want to be parts of that. But my needs is that in order for me to come here and give you guys insight and truth and clarity, I need the support. I need the energy back. It's give and take. But this is for somebody out there. Okay, they feed off your fear, the fear of you might. They make you feel like they're gonna leave, or someone's making you feel like you're not good enough, or someone's making you feel like you know you're stuck, or understand that the power you have so much power, and all you got to do is just put yourself in a position of knowing, believing, and having faith in yourself, and know that you have a team behind you supporting you. So when you follow these steps, you can most definitely expect an answer in your favor. Affirmatively say, you need to say, hey, my needs need to be met. And even to your spiritual team, I have needs, and these are my needs, and these are the things that I need help with, right? For people, yeah, they're going to drop off because they're not going to want to listen. That's okay. But mark my word, you're going to wish you did. Go listen to those tarot readers that tells you, oh my God, did any of them warn you about floods and food shortages? Hmm, I'll wait. Some of them on TikTok are, though. Very interesting group of people on TikTok. Very expressive. I'm still offering readings. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be on here, but if you want one, drop a line. I'll let you know if I'll do it for you or not. Certain people, I'm not trying to tap into your energy. Um, hmm yeah, they don't want to hear it. They see someone that looks good, right? Glamour. The person looks good on the outside, and they automatically assume, "Ooh, she must be good on the inside too." You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people you work with or have interacted with that's not even human. You'll be fucking surprised. They look human. See, I could smell them. That's one of my gifts. I don't know if I ever told you guys about that gift. How I know when you ain't right, when you really ain't right, I could smell you. Anyways, I'll save that for another day. Let's see what else Spirit wants to talk about. They feed off of your fear. Y'all watching TV, y'all scared as fuck. Some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about because y'all play video games all day. Y'all watch Love and Hip Hop. Y'all don't know, but you'll know soon. If you don't know that there's floods, that there's drought, that rivers are drying up, hailstorms, tsunamis, earthquakes. If you don't know, just Google Pakistan. You don't know. Y'all don't even know that there's a war happening. I don't know if it's the southeast side of Africa, Sudan. Y'all don't even know that there's out all types of different outbreaks that we don't even hear about. We only hear about monkeypox, which is nothing new. A lot of that shit is shit that they had experimented on people in other countries. Why do you think certain countries are getting it the worst? Why you think certain countries they gotta hide in caves because the sun's burning them up? Mm, I digress, though. I digress. Right now, we need to stay in high vibration. Right now, we need to. This is the time where we need to really put faith in action, baby. High vibrations as much as possible. I'm not saying you're not going to get scared. You're human, of course. But I'm saying that that's not going to help you. Make a plan. Get your shit. Get prepared, and you know that's student. History is repeating itself, beloveds. This world resets, floods, delusions, mudslides, and earthquakes. All of this shit is nothing new. This happens every certain amount of times, and it's happening so many times. The earth has to reset. Civilizations are wiped from the planet. The titans, the giants, wiped. Some of them are still here, by the way, believe it or not. They found huge bones, huge skulls, people that were up to 30 feet tall, huge tree stumps that we call mountains. They're trees that were cut down, they're petrified wood. Huge bones, fossil cities are showing up as the rivers are drying up in certain areas. Things are being revealed, things that were hidden under the earth. Layers and layers of sediment, rock, dirt, mud, clay, covering a long, long lost history. Things that you've never heard of because history was rewritten to make you believe a story that was not real. Everything you were taught in school was a fucking lie. But you guys are so easily programmable. So it's easy to say, show you something on TV, and it's easy for you to say, oh, well, that must be real, right? A lot of things you hear on the news or a lot of things you read in books are not 100% facts. You just have to understand that. I'm not saying that there aren't authors that are educated. There are people that have dedicated their lives to studying certain topics. So, yes, I do encourage you to read and to research, yes, but nothing is set in stone. What I want you to do is what I want you to do is think about what you're going to do with that information. Is that information going to benefit you? And if it will benefit you, how can you use it to help others? So we have here where it says work with a mentor, and it's also saying teach yourself how to succeed. And what Spirit wants you to know is that you need to learn in order to advance, in order to grow, in order to win, and to make it out. See, if you learn, you will be successful. It's simple. Work smart. I can't make this up. But of course, they're going to pass my video by and they're going to say, oh, right, let me go to somebody else. Go, go. They're going to tell you, let me be quiet. I was going to say, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Not every 10 years, but no, it's math. There's just an exact amount of time. It's more than that, sweetie. There's different ones, but the resets happen. Um, we have ancient calendars that actually predict these resets, these dates where things reset. But we haven't had an ice age. We haven't had a you know, we've had different ones. We've had um, wars. I've had dreams in the past of alien invasions. I don't talk about this stuff, but I'll if you like story time, I should have named it story time. I had a dream once upon a time, and I've had this dream multiple times, but they were kind of like spaced apart because sometimes you wake up, you don't remember what you dreamt. But this particular dream, it wasn't in this time frame because the buildings look different. The buildings look a little bit older. Um, and I think that's my first because I just start relearning because a lot of times when we learn some new information, we're just relearning it. It's like I said, nothing's new under the sun. But it looked like if you ever heard of Tartaria, or if you ever looked at Greco-Roman architecture, like which is stolen architecture. It's not they never built it. They found structures already built, and they claim that they built it. Some of them built after the fact, but anyways, but that type of architecture, like Greco-Roman columns and lots of um, cement, like sculptures and stone. Like how they have castles that was built all from stone because stone's sturdy, stone withstands lots of, it withstands weather, climate, all type of stuff. And it stays cool on the inside too, depending on how it's built. But um, some of the buildings were like that, and some of the buildings were just older. I can't even, I don't know for sure. But I do remember it was a bunch of us, we had created like camps, and we had different groups of people, and we had jeeps. So it was um if I were to put a date on it, we had jeeps, but they looked like military jeeps, but the older versions that we used to see in Rambo. You know what I mean? The ones that don't have windows. We had those type of jeeps, right? So there was technology. It wasn't like old, like I'm not saying that it was in like that time frame of Rome and Greece where it was the architecture. It's just what I'm kind of noting. But but the thing is, it was like ruins. It wasn't like it's like where we were is remnants of what was there before. It's trees growing over them, vines, and so it's just like the buildings were there, but they're old. Oh, I'm coughing, so that's a sign. Anyways, let me just skip over to the part where the aliens were. So there was aliens shooting at us, and I remember we were on this building that kind of looked. It kind of had the same kind of style of the White House, the way the White House, like if you wanted to just get a visual, but it was like old. It was a building where like there were steps, and we were like people were on the platform. There were steps, and I remember people were running, trying to find cover. These aliens were in these robotic suits. So they were like in suits. And I've seen these robot suits after the fact. Like I've had the dream that I've had, I've seen this technology, but I've seen it after, years after having that dream. So they were in these robot suits and they were shooting at us. We had regular, like I said, those Jeeps and guns. We didn't have the same technology as them. And some of them were like walking. Some of them were just like on foot attacking, and some of them were in the machines, suits, and they were shooting us. And they were aliens. They weren't human. And then I was leading people out, and I remember I was leading people through the jungle. It kind of looked like some of the architecture, and I'm saying Greco-Roman. I could be wrong because now I'm having a memory that it was actually like um Mexico and Mayan type of because we ran into these woods because like I said, everything was like run down. It's like the world was already taken over. It was like the world was already destroyed, and we were just like the last people. We were part of the group of humans that still were surviving. So they have already invaded. We were kind of just elusive. We were kind of trying to keep them from getting us. So that's why I said we were in camps, like we were survivors and we did not get captured. So they were trying to round us up. So I remember I was leading people out, or I don't know if it was me, but I don't know. We were leading people out, running towards the woods to go hide in the woods. But that's when I remember seeing the ruins looking like the ruins in Mexico and Peru, those old pyramids, you know. It was a pyramid and it was covered in, you know, foliage, trees and vines. And we were running and we were hiding while other people were fighting the machines, distracting them. And I remember having that dream a couple of times. This was in the early 90s too. This was old, old. Hey, baby. Um, yeah, so some of the, like I said, some of the aliens were like in those robotic suits, and some of them are on foot. And I'm trying to see if I can. I have a visual. I'm visualizing the dream because this is an old, like this is a core. This is just a memory that's popped up. I've had different alien type dreams, but this one was the most. I would say the most interaction that I've seen me have. And with the guns, like I could see them shooting. I could see them. It would be. It's like something you would see in a movie, but it wasn't. It was real. But I always just thought that I was just in a different dimension because I do move around like that. I was in a different version of Earth, or I could have been in a. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was in the future because I had an awareness because I was on my shit back then. Like my third. You know those? Have you ever seen on social media the video that just looks like a negative? It's like a negative picture, like you're in black and white, but it's like a negative. So everything's amplified in black and white. I don't know what it's called, but it's like an X-ray kind of looking filter. When I put that filter on me, my third eye is like a gaping hole, endless hole. I was gonna post it, but then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna post this. I don't want people to know. But anyways, so they were shooting. They had to. It was there was technology, but I always had the awareness that I tried, that I could travel between realms. And I've dreamt about the future. I used to dream about the future all the time. But again, because of the fact that I know that I'm multidimensional, sometimes some of these dreams are just different versions of myself. Okay. A lot of the timelines have already collapsed. A lot of those timelines have merged. Some of them they are obsolete. There's infinite possible parallel universes because of different reasons that I don't want to go into. But that particular alien invasion dream, those aliens had technology. We did not have that type of technology. We didn't have access. I'm not saying we didn't have it. We didn't have access to it. We were shooting. I don't know if maybe any of the civilians had guns that could kill them, but they were in fucking robotic suits, and they were like, I mean, this was like ships. There were ships in the air shooting. There were ships on the ground. There were the ones in the suits and the ones on the ground. They're ground soldiers, and they were like 7 to 8 feet tall. They were taller than us, just like regularly standing. If they were standing in front of you, they were tall. But we were formidable. It's like no one there was scared. Like, I mean, the women and children were scared because, and that's who I was moving away from the situation. We were trying to get the women and children out, but we were in a part of town that where we lived in abandoned buildings, and we were camping out there, and then we got discovered. So they were trying to get us. I don't know if they were trying to kill us or get us to do whatever they were doing. And that was the only thing that I could remember from that particular dream. It was very vivid, and I'm lucid, so I lucid dream. So those aliens. Then what else? Do I have any other experiences? Not really. I couldn't say I've had any experiences with other alien. I've had other alien like dreams, um, in, not invasion. I mean, this one was a full on invasion. The earth was already invaded. The earth was already, this was like whoever these aliens were, wherever we were. I don't even know if I was on earth. Okay, I'm assuming I was on earth. I could have been on a different planet for all I know. That place was already under a regime that was not human. We were basically fighting for our lives, like to survive. Like a fucking movie. It was crazy. Um, and then I've had dreams of me traveling through space and stuff like that. I never really encountered any beings per se, you know. I've seen some things, I've had experiences, but I mean, unless I'm not remembering. I've had dreams where I went to the underworld and stuff like that. Um, I've had dreams where I was fighting. I had a dream where there was a headless horseman. First, we were in this place, and this was a different time frame, and I was fighting with a bunch of undead people. They were coming at us with I don't know if they were ghouls. I don't know what they were. They were fighting us, and they were sending these lions, huge lions. And I remember I was fighting them, but I was using my laser beams from my hands and these beams, and we were able to, hold them back. And then these three, when we tried to get out of there, it was three. It was this guy on a horse with no head. It was three of them, I believe. They were in a row. I had told somebody about this dream. I think I had typed it to my phone just died to someone. I gotta find it because I don't remember the details, but I do remember these things were coming at us, and we were there was a castle. They were coming out of the castle, and the thing was, we had found something. I went there with this man, these white people, this man and this other woman, and then I think it was two men and another woman, and we had something. We went to go get something. We found it, and this white guy, and I've seen him in my dreams. I don't know who he is, but I've seen him a few times. He was dressed in all black, and he's a vampire. And he was when we went there and we retrieved whatever it was. He was in a shallow grave, like he was in a grave, and his eyes open because when I dream from different perspectives. Sometimes when I dream, I'm dreaming through someone else's eyes. Like I'm looking at everything through someone's point of view. And sometimes I'm looking at it from bird's eye view. Sometimes I'm looking at it as an outsider looking in. It just depends. But he was in the grave, and I remember seeing him open his eyes in the grave, and he got out of the grave, like dug himself out. And he just, wow, he was very like, it kind of reminded me of like the originals, like how those vampires were. They're dressed in suits. He was dressed in a black suit. I mean, the way he was dressed was the Victorian era. Um, and he was a warlock, but I remember him being a vampire. Um, and I said he was a warlock or he had powers. He had these things try to attack us. But we went, I fought him off. We were able to get out of there. And then when we got out of there, I was driving down this road, and the road was going down in a spiral. And I remember I was going, and we were going down the road, and I remember one of the cars stopped, and I was telling him, "Don't stop," because he was behind us, but he was on he was running, and that's when this was after we passed the three horses with the three horses with the three headless creatures. He was running after us, like running or gliding. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. And I remember I was driving down this road, and it was spiraling down. And then I got off on an exit, and then I was back in my time frame, and I was on the highway, and I woke up. It was so fucking weird. Um, I see that. I'm just realizing I've seen him like, I want to say 4 times now that I could remember. I don't know who the fuck this man is. It's a white man, black hair, pale skin, black eyes. Not like completely black, like his pupils. Like, you know how you could say someone had blue eyes? He didn't have blue eyes. He had black eyes, black hair, pale skin. always dressed in the same outfit. I don't know who the fuck he is. I've had dreams of dinosaurs. I've had dreams of prehistoric times. I've had dreams of different time frames. So this is nothing new. Nothing new for me. But that's just a little story time. I know you have different dreams. That's just one dream. That's just one dream in a plethora of dreams that I have. But I know your dreams are completely different because you have a completely different mission and you probably come from a different star seed. I don't know. We're not gonna always have the same experiences, but that was me. Like but like I said, I was fighting them. I fights a lot. I was fighting them. I was fighting them. I had laser beams. And then there was these fish. There was this huge goldfish, but that's just that was different symbology for that particular dream. But the fighting and the ghouls. I mean, we were fighting them. Some of the guys, some of the other people had swords, and I was blasting them. I fought them, and that was the first time I've seen myself blast somebody with, you know, or at least that's the first time I remember. We're blasting those things, those ghouls that were coming at us, you know. And he was just very poised. He walked. He didn't like. The only time he ran was we drove off, and I was in a van. I remember I was in like it was like almost like a school bus type of van, but the whole time he was moving like slow. He was walking because he was just doing his hand like that, and the things came, and I was blasting them, fighting them off. I'm never scared in my dreams. I've rarely had it. I've had. Listen, when I tell you I don't some dreams I'm not going to even talk about, but like the underworld dreams or the dreams where I've seen those. I've seen ghouls, and like I said, I've seen that man. I don't know who the fuck he is. I'm just realizing that I've seen a few times, and this is not nobody I've seen on TV or anything like that. I've watched the originals. I've watched Vampire Diaries. I've had like my own. Back in the day, I've had the little phase of like I like sci-fi. I like to watch anything sci-fi. But the dream, when I had the dream, I wasn't even watching TV. You know, like I said, I'll have like a binge moment, and then I won't watch TV for months, for years. So this dream happened even before. No, I had this dream. I want to say 2 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 2 years ago. I had this dream. Yeah, 2 years ago. As far as the alien invasions, you guys, I will say this. I just got chills. They're already here. Okay, they're here. They've been here. Um, and some of you guys work with them. Investments, teachers. Yeah. Spirit is saying invest in teaching. Teach one, each one. You have reach one, teach one, something like that. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, yeah, I need to start teaching people because a lot of people are still needing growth. This is for people that are in between. Please understand you cannot make somebody change because some people are going to choose to settle. They not people don't like change. Um, Men what needs to be mended. Don't settle, overcome your fear. Put yourself out there. See where you can give more of yourself. We shouldn't have to settle to live on a planet where people are dying of hunger. We should have free energy. This is not new. We've had free energy. It's all over. And I could point out certain buildings and structures. They tore it down. You know that in the 1800s they had cars that were operated with water and electricity. Did y'all know that? I'm pretty sure you didn't know it because it's not in your history books. People were driving around in electric cars in the 1800s, but you didn't know that because they didn't tell you. They told you that people were in wagons, right? Did you know that they had electricity? They could light up entire cities. You didn't know that, did you? Egyptians used electricity, uh, and there's pictures. That's the thing that kills me. There's pictures, but your history books say something different. They say, "Oh, the light bulb was created. Edison created the electricity." That's not true. There was electricity before Edison even came up with the light bulb, and he didn't create anything. Nothing that you hear people say they invented was really invented by them. They just refurbished the technology. Y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know there was electricity. Y'all didn't know there was water powered cars. Y'all didn't know there was helicopters and plane and aircrafts. Y'all didn't know that there was sustainable renewable energy that people were using back in the day. Y'all didn't know that a lot of the buildings in New York weren't built by the original settlers. They found those buildings there. That's why y'all have those tunnels and subways, and that's why a lot of your buildings and your basements have windows that don't have any windows in it. If you live in New York, you might know what I'm talking about. Because there has been civilizations that were thriving before Christopher Columbus got there. Cities, not what we see in books, not the undeveloped people walking around naked pictures that you see in books. You'll be surprised. But there's a lot of stuff y'all don't know. So learn it and teach it to somebody else. Hey, Free. I'm just talking tonight, Free. I do want to do readings. If you want a reading, I'm open. So y'all could start with Tartaria. Y'all could start with Hyperbolia. This is stuff, old stuff. Shambhala, Agartha, Moon, Atlantis. But see, the thing is, different timelines are merging. So a lot of you guys that are talking, a lot of people that are talking about Tartaria, you come from that timeline. So a lot of people don't know is Tartaria is not part of some of our timelines. It's it's part of our timeline now because of the Mandela effect. A lot of things we are coming back around. A lot of us, like for example, I come from the era where it was Berenstein Bears, not Berenstain. I come from the era where Oscar Mayer was spelled with two E's, not an A. J.C. Penney had no E at the end. Like, I remember, and I know y'all probably talking, think that, that's not true. Remember, I'm older, and my memories of things, the way they were spelled and the way they used to be, is different. When I was younger, certain people had died. Like, for example, when I was in middle school, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett got a divorce. But that's not in that's but you can't find that information. When I was in middle school, Nelson Mandela died. No, he died in the 80s. Like, there's just certain things that happen, and it's like, wait a minute. Didn't this I remember when they were talking about Nelson Mandela. I was like, didn't he already die? I was so shocked. This was like in the 90s or early 2000s. I was like, I thought he was already dead because in school we talked about Nelson Mandela and he was dead, but then he was alive again. What else could I tell you? Oh, there's yeah, a lot of you guys may be younger than me, so I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of anything that might be weird. Certain presidents that we have that are alive now were dead. in the early 2000s. I'm not going to say their names. So just try to put two and two together. They had already died, but they're alive still. So it's like, what? Wait a minute. Didn't this person die? What? But Will Smith and Jada got a divorce. I mean, I remember this. I was in middle school and they got a divorce, and everybody was like, what the freak? All of us was like, what? Because that was like, back then we didn't have social media. We didn't have social media. So when shit came out, everybody was talking about it amongst each other. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm just giving you guys a few examples of weird shit. If you're into that type of stuff, a lot of people don't believe in the the Mandela effect or butterfly effect, whatever you want to call it. The reason it's called Mandela effect is because he had already died. That's a big historical event that everybody has in their core memory. He died in the 80s, and then he wasn't dead. He died again. And I do remember him being dead because I remember we talked about him in school in the world's history class. He had already passed away. We talked about him as if he was already deceased, but we talked about what he did to help humanity and you know, his legacy, whatever. So when he died again, a lot of people were like, wait a minute. And I remember I was one of those people. And this is even before I even knew what the Mandela effect was. I didn't even learn about the Mandela effect until years after the fact. But I remember having that reaction. And I remember me having a conversation with a friend of mine that used to be my friend when we were debating about a particular store that I used to go to. And I was like, yeah, that store that's over there at this particular place, this particular plaza. She was like, there's no store there. I was like, yeah, I bought stuff from that store. She argued me down. She was like, there's no store there. And I went and the store wasn't there. And I was like, I know the store is here. I've come to the store multiple times. Things that were in certain locations weren't there anymore. But a lot of people didn't notice because these were like subtle things that were happening. So it was like you couldn't even pick it up. Just like JC Penney. Like, I mean, no one really cares that the name changed, but when I was growing up, JC Penney's was not spelled like that. JC Penney's was not spelled the way it's spelled now. I worked at Burdines. This is how I know for sure. I worked at Burdines. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Burdines, but Burdines is now Macy's. Prior to Burdines merging with Macy's, it used to be its own store. And I worked there back. Let me see. Brian was what? Brian, I just had Brian. I think Brian couldn't be more. Brian could have been one or two. I'm guesstimating. I had just had him. Okay. I worked at Burdines and then before it turned to Macy's. And JC Penney's was one of the stores. There was Dillard's, there was JC Penney's, and I don't know if we had a Kohl. I've never shopped at Kohl. I think we had a Kohl, but I never shopped there. And JC Penney's was on the other side because I worked at this one particular mall that was in a really popular location. And I worked in a men's section, the young men's. This is when people used to wear Sean John and baby fat. This was baby fat Sean John era. Okay. Just to give you a time frame reference. My son was born in 2002. So I worked next to JC Penney's. It was, well, I wouldn't say next, but it was close enough. So I know it wasn't spelled the way it's spelled now because I worked at the mall. Oh, some of you guys might have experiences with the Mandela effect. I don't know if you did. He was. Let me see. Yeah, I'm watching you. He never said that. Hagar, just to kind of clarify, Christopher Columbus never said he was the first person discovered. Christopher Columbus never said that. They wrote that in history books, but he never said that. When he journaled his logs of his travels, he actually put in his logs what he saw. And he said he has seen copper colored people, dark skinned people that look like me, who had a thriving civilization. He was impressed. And you have to understand, Christopher Columbus was coming from Europe, and Europe was ran by blackamoors. There were rich black aristocrats. Not all black people were slaves. That's what they want you to believe. You will never find a picture of a black slave ship. You will find multiple hundreds of pictures of ships with European descent people, Irish people, Asian people, but you won't find one of black people because they don't exist. They've had they did take people to certain places from Africa, but it's not the way they describe in the books. They did have certain people that migrated to places like Nicaragua, Honduras, Venezuela, Brazil. This is why those people are dark skinned. If you look at someone that is from Honduras, or and I'm so sorry I would show you guys, but I'll show you guys where you can find this information. This is nothing that you can't find. You can find Christopher Columbus logs. You can see what he wrote, what he said he saw. He never said he saw Siberians. Those are the Indian people now. They're from Siberia. They know this. They know their history. Their descent there came across land straits because remember, the lands were um, connected the way the lands are now. And remember, you can't even trust maps, to be honest with you. But a lot of those people came across, and a lot of the Spaniards, they were procreating and with slaves, what they called slaves, with black people. And a lot of those Spaniards were Caucasoid. They were light. That's why you have, if you look at Spain, if you look at people from Spain and you look at people from South America, they don't look the same. They look completely different. The features are completely different. Yes, they have things, throughout the years, things have changed. People have interracial relationships, but if you just look at the geography of the land, you look at the people. You have the Tainos. The Tainos were in the Caribbean. I'm not saying they didn't have, certain Indian people, but I'm just letting you know the people that were classified as Indian. There were two classifications. The ones that live in India, they were classified as blue skin because people that are from Pakistan, people that are from that part of Asia, Sri Lanka. Look at all those people. They're dark. They're tawny. They're very dark. Their skin. They can get, like, for example, if you look on your phone, like if you do a quick Google search and just type in Sri Lanka and look at the people. They're dark. They have straight hair, and some of them are darker than me. I'm talking about like blue. They look blue, and then the people over here look copper. They had a reddish tone. That's why they call them the Redskins. That's where you get the Redskins from, the baseball team. Redskin Indians, blue skin Indians. That's how they knew the difference. This is not nothing that I'm making up. I don't talk about it because I just don't. But you got to understand that the history of they try to make you believe it's not true. What they don't talk about is the amount of people they slaughtered, murdered, killed, raped, displaced, stole their land. And if you see this continent that these people come from, it's not even a continent. They made it a continent, but it's not even. Texas is bigger than that shit. That's why I tell you guys, look at the maps, but they'll let you know that the earlier maps were incorrect. The maps that they have in your old textbooks are inaccurate. Scholars will tell you they depicted Africa as being smaller than it was, and they made certain places look bigger. I don't know why, but they talked about this and it's not true. But they have corrected some of the maps so that it can have a better representation of what the world really looks like, because they, like I said, they don't want you to know certain things. They don't want you to know that our laws are built on maritime law, which is very old, very old druid, um, a magic system that they created years ago. This is when we were in the dark ages. This is when the feminine and this is when a lot of us went into the dark ages. A lot of older souls went into, did some really bad rituals, did some really dark stuff. They corrupted the old science, and they did a lot of things, and they don't want to let that go. Blood sacrifice, that's we never did that. We never did blood sacrifice. That is something that was taught to certain groups of people, and this is something that comes from a different race of people that are not human. And it's their belief systems that have infiltrated our belief systems. Even Christianity does it. Blood, we eat the flesh of Christ and drink his blood. That's not just, it's just a lot of things. But we went through a period where there was these dark times, and people were doing corrupt and dark magic. There was just darkness that descended, and this was before the dark ages, what we consider the dark ages if you're looking at history. This was during a time frame, and I don't know why that happened. I mean, I think I do. Um, a lot of the souls here come from other star systems that resisted. They chose technology over spirituality. A lot of the star beings that came from other star systems, planets, they they completely um, I don't want to say they shut off their feminine energy, but they overthrew their feminine energy. Yeah, they did. There was such an imbalance. You got to remember, first species on this particular planet, right? And before we had male, we were first feminine or hermaphrodites. Most um, if you really do your research, a lot of the beings here on Earth were hermaphrodites. There was no male or female separation. That came during the time of Atlantis, Lemuria, where there was the separation that took place, and then there was this darkness that people just descended into darkness, lusting after power, and there's just different reasons they did it. They did a lot of things. This is where you get a lot of those hybrid animals from, because these are people that were highly technologically advanced. They created creatures. Um, they did genetic modification. They could rejuvenate. They could do anything, and they use crystals. Believe it or not. But there's different timelines. We got to understand. We kept resetting, so there's different civilizations that you don't even know about, that you've never heard about. In your Bible, in the Bible, I should say, Genesis, depending on what version, but Genesis, the first book, Genesis, between Genesis 1 and 4, they talk about the deluge, the first one, the flood, right? The deluge is a flood. But if you really read, they talk about, right before they start talking about the Garden of Eve, Eden, I'm sorry, the Garden of Eden, they talk about the people on the earth briefly. And if you read the Bible, if you really read the Bible, you're not just someone that's saying you're a Christian and you're judging everybody. If you really read the Bible, it references people after it talks about God creating the earth, right? In 6 days. So on the seventh day, God rested, right? Remember, the translations are inaccurate in certain places. So when it says, um, in the beginning, God created, in the beginning, the word was with God. I may be quoting that wrong, but that portion where it talks about the word and when it says the word was with God, God was written as El, and El is plural. And in Hebrew, because remember it was originally in Hebrew and translated that particular portion of the Bible. So there's just some things in there that are inaccurate. So it's multiple gods, not one. You can research. You don't have to believe that, because you're not going to want to, because you've been conditioned to believe something that's not 100% true. But um, then they talk about the people, and then they talk about the Garden of Eden. Eden. You can look at your Bible. That's why I said, depending on what version. And I don't have my Bible. I could go grab it, but I don't feel like it. The first few chapters, read it and really pay attention. And then when they talk about Adam and Eve disobeying God, and God casts them out, right? God casts them out of the garden, right? Eve has two sons. One of the sons, Cain, kills his brother, and Cain is cast out to the wilderness. And what did Cain do when he went into the wilderness? He found himself a wife. Now, make that make sense to me if Adam and Eve were the only two people on the planet. Make it make sense. If they were the only two people, they procreated and had two sons. How did Cain find himself a wife and go on to have what? 13? How much kids Cain had? I think Cain had not 13. He had like a couple of kids before he died. And he died at what? Like he died at 600 to 700 something years old. Make it fucking make sense, but you can't. I'll tell you what the real story is one day. I'll tell you about the Adamo Project. I'll tell you about this gene splicing and the modification of Homo sapien, which now we are Homo sapien sapien. One day when I feel like it. So just read books, open your mind, learn something new. Don't believe everything, research it. Don't blindly follow something without trying to understand what is this really about, you know? Why did a certain person get included in the Bible when history tells you that that person never existed under that particular name, at least? But people don't want to hear it, don't want to have that conversation because they're going to say, oh, they already look, they already judge because I read tarot, so they already make an assumption about me. Because the Bible said you're not that the Bible said you're not supposed to do that. Why do you think the Bible don't want me to read my tarot cards? Why do you think they say it's evil? Because it will give you it gives knowledge that you're not meant to have, just like Eve wasn't meant to eat from the tree. Why do you think she was not allowed to eat from the tree? Because the Bible says she would know herself, she would know. What would she know? What was it that she was going to know that God did not want her to know? And why was God so cruel in his punishment? The Old Testament God was very, very harsh. Read your Bibles. Go and pillage their lands, kill the men and take the women and take the children. If they're not part of the bloodline, they can die. Y'all gotta read. Y'all gotta read. Y'all gotta stop letting people tell y'all what to believe. You need to read. And you need to ask yourself, does this make sense? Because this is saying that this is why certain people have justified their acts against a certain group of people, all in the name of Christianity, remember? But do you know who Constantine is? Do you know what the Roman, do you know when the Catholic Church was established? Oh, a lot of people are gonna say, well, I'm not Catholic. That don't mean nothing. You pay to if your congregation, your church has to pay a tax to the Vatican. So you are technically part of the Catholic Church. Doesn't matter what you call yourself. Your church has to pay them a tax. Every church has to answer to the Vatican. But they don't talk about that, do they? Nope, they don't. Hey, sun kiss. So you ask yourself, where the cat? Y'all could talk. Y'all could put your 2 cents in and tell me what you. Yeah, the word was with God, and God was the word. Yeah. And what do you think the word represents? What a lot of people don't know is um, Helios Biblos, which is Holy Bible, a sun book. 12 disciples in the sun, 12 planets. That's just one that's just one code. There's so many in there. This is why a lot of people have kind of changed their belief system and start moving towards the world of occult. But you got to understand that even though you claim you're out of the church, does not mean you know anything. It just means that, you know, I'm not saying that all the information in there is wrong. I'm saying that what you're reading, what the way you're interpreting the information is wrong, is what I'm saying. It's not as literal as you think. I was watching this TikTok, was very interesting because he was talking about what would Jesus say about Christmas, right? He's a Christian guy because they say that it's his birthday. And he was talking about how it's not Jesus' birthday. Most people know this. Scholars know this. Pastors know this. They have to go to school. They have to go to seminary school. Most pastors go to school, right, before they can preach. And they know that that's not Jesus' birthday. But the December 25th is Horus's birthday, and um, it's also um, a day that they observe Saturnalia, which is worship of Saturn, and also the god Baal, Baal. That's the day they sacrifice children to him, or there's other gods um, they were mentioning. So basically, what happens is, as you know, in the winter, everything dies, right? The ice covers everything up, and everything goes into a rest phase or a death phase. The rebirth takes place in the spring, right? Which is Easter, which is another pagan holiday. It's the goddess Ishtar, and it's a day where, in the olden days, they would have huge orgies where everybody would have sex and get drunk and party, and all the women would get pregnant. And then 9 months later, they would get They would have babies. And then, so let's do the math, right? Let's do the math. Easter happens in what month? April, right? So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So during December, right, between April and December, it's 8 months and change, women are having babies. And on the December 25th, they're offering up these babies for sacrifice. And that's what those holidays actually really mean. You celebrate them, right? Santa Claus, Satan Claus, and it's all in your face with the red suit, right? He brings gifts to the children. You guys, if you guys only knew how they keep you guys in this perpetual state of sleep. So you guys celebrated every Christmas. Oh, this is Jesus' birthday, right? Baby Jesus, a baby is born in a manger, right? But actually, it's a pagan holiday. And in order for you to keep the tradition going, to justify their vile acts and to also hide it in plain sight, as they tell you, oh, Jesus was born on that day, which is not correct because Jesus, um, he came in the age of Pisces. That's why his symbol is the fish. During the time of Pisces, right? When he came in, when you go back and if you're really like a nerd and you want to look at the timeline and the dates, it would not be the right date for him to be born. It would have to be in the spring. His birthday was in April. This is proven. Um, but they keep those rituals alive and they're always on equinoxes. Remember, they always have them on an equinox. They always have them on an astrological date where the energy is the highest. So the 25th is a winter equinox. And that's when they sacrifice so many babies. The ones you never hear about. They drink their blood so they can stay alive, to rejuvenate. They sell their organs or they use them. They eat their flesh. They sacrifice them. And this is how these holidays happen. And this is the stuff that had happened back in the old world when a lot of people were doing this darkness and there was a karma that had to be paid for that. All the pedophilia. There was a lot of people sleeping with children, a lot of people killing children and torturing people, sacrificing them. These people come back, reincarnate, and have to live that experience because they did it to somebody else. This is why they say to you, all is not what it seems. And this is a dark time in our past that did happen. And it happened for a long time. And there was a reset. And then those people destroy, they tell you the story of Atlantis. Oh, they destroyed themselves. But I think this happened even before Atlantis because there's always a repeat that takes place. But yeah, so think about that. If you were murdering babies and killing them and all that stuff, sacrificing them, you don't think that that's just going to come back to you one of these days? It's going to come back. Everything you do, you have to learn from. And what's the best teacher? Learning from your mistakes. And how do you think people learn from that type of mistake? How do you think people learn from that? And don't get me wrong, obviously they were influenced by some very negative entities, but how do you think people learn from that type of mistake? Killing, slaughtering, rape. How do you think they learn from that? You think they you think that they just get killed and that's it? No. How do you think you get somebody to get to a point where they'll never do it again? I'll never do this shit again. This is why they always tell you Earth is hell, because part of Earth school is there's always that what goes wrong comes wrong aspect of it, right? You have some people that go through very difficult experiences in this earth plane. You just might not know because it's not happening to you. And if you've been through some difficult things, you may not understand. And I'm not saying every single situation is because you did it. Sometimes you're repeating patterns because you have not healed from it. But a lot of times, yeah. A lot of times, yeah. And you can really look at your life and you can look at situations where you've done something to someone, where you slandered someone's name, or where you judged someone. Because I did a video and I talked about and I said judge and be judged. I titled it that. You will be judged too. I've done readings in the past for people where I've picked up on past life events and I've told them outrightly, this is this person's karma to experience this event because they did it to that person. They have a certain debt to pay. And again, you don't have to believe. Again, there's different reasons for different things, but there was a period of time where some people lusted after power. And this is souls, and you gotta understand, there's souls that came from other star systems who had committed crimes and who had such a separation from the collective consciousness. They chose to not embrace spirituality. They chose technology. They chose advancement, power, war, conquering. They were so separated from source, so disconnected, so dark, so to the point where they're evil. They were voided of any type of love, empathy, or emotions. And that's an imprint, that's a behavior. And once you have a behavior or a habit, you have to abstain from it so you can break the pattern. Just like smoking, it's an addiction, right? How do you stop someone from doing drugs or smoking or drinking? They got to go into a program. They have to be rehabilitated. A lot of us are in human bodies reincarnating over and over and over. There's different aspects of this plane of existence. I do have to explain that to you. There are different programs running, and we're simultaneously living in this construct, right, that we call reality, and we're all experiencing from different point of views. And some of us are experiencing from a point of view in this construct or program um, that we're stuck in this matrix and we can't get out, which technically I would say is true on some levels. But the concept of you feeling stuck is the mere fact that you have been conditioned to believe certain things. And until you can see that, until you can regain your power, you're going to keep repeating the process. The direct reincarnation is a program that keeps us bounded to this plane of existence. Ask yourself why that is. If you believe in that kind of stuff, right? Spirit says destiny, angelic help. Spirit says it was part of your destiny. But the destiny for us now is to be free from it. To finally be free from coming back and going through the light, going and being recycled again. Spirit says, beware. See, I told you, be prudent. Things are not what they seem. Helper. Libra. See? It says, don't be fear. It says, don't fear asking for help or accepting help. And it says, your dependable nature will be rewarded soon. Yeah. Because Spirit is saying a lot of you guys are helpers, trying to You came to help humanity. Your destiny was to come here to help, to teach the rest of the sleepwalkers to wake the fuck up. We came here and we're trapped. We came here and now we're trapped. We didn't have wings, by the way. I mean, some of us, you know, some of us did, but that's for another day. Some of us in our true forms, you know, we choose what our true form is, by the way. So, but technically, it's not, our true form isn't physical, you know. But a lot of us came here to help, and we are trapped because our mission is we got to keep coming back with the rest of them until we get them to wake the fuck up. I'm telling y'all, this is why you hear a lot of people claiming to be chosen. A lot of them are not chosen. A lot of them are not, but a lot of people are. That's why you have a lot of people that's like, you're chosen one, you're a chosen one, right? Um, but a lot of the souls that are here on this plane of existence, this planet, came here to be rehabilitated for their crimes. And they don't want to let go of their mindset and their behavior because, one, they were conditioned for many, 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 many years. And two, a lot of them don't want to give up the illusion of ego, the illusion of I'm in control. Technically, on some level, yeah. But yeah, as long as you keep doing things, you got to pay the consequences till you learn. And then you got those other people, those other things interfering. So much things that we could talk about. Keep it simple tonight. So let's talk about what a fallen angel is. Let's first break down the two words. And I wish my phone was on so I could break down the Latin because you got to learn to understand everything. You got to learn etymology. You got to learn the origin of these words because English is a very toxic language. The English language has been modified to keep us. Everything we do now is to keep us in the lowest vibrations. So just understand that. You got to understand the words, understand what they mean. Fallen angel. So you were taught that these angels came from heaven, right? Aliens, they're extraterrestrials. Let's just keep it all the way G, right? Anything that is not of the earth is extraterrestrial. Aliens, angels, demons, they're all the same thing. Just so that you understand. This particular universe has a God. This does not mean it's the God of everything. Understand that. And there are many people that are hold the title God, right? And this is because they have a certain level of awareness and power that you don't, right? Anything that is a little bit more advanced than human can claim to be a god or what we call or our deities or the people that we had called gods back in the day, right? Because think about it, if you're a human and you didn't have knowledge of a particular thing, and there's this thing that comes out of nowhere and says, I could do this and I could show you how to do it, you're gonna think, oh, this is a god, right? Just so let's look at Superman, Kal-El, and remember his it's Kal-El, right? Because El represents God. Where did Kal-El come from? Did he come from Earth? No, they tell you this. They make it so clear to you. He comes from another planet. That they are more advanced because they use more of their DNA. Why? Because on this planet, we were modified so that we don't use all of our DNA strand. They've been reduced to 12. And then we drink poison water and we eat poisonous food every day. So he comes from a different planet. He has these powers and he comes to Earth and he helps the humans, right? He's so strong. He can fly. He can do all kind of stuff. So they tell you no different from an angel. Angelos. Anything, that's not of this earth is extraterrestrial. So there's different aspects of angel because angels are energies. Some people say they're an algorithm, right? In this particular construct, we call the matrix. Now, as far as physical beings, yes, there are people that believe that there are physical beings that are helping, right? Which is true. But what you think an angel look like is not 100% true. I'll just say that. Um, so if you use the Bible as the reference, because we can't always use the Bible, there's older books. I must say this. We can't always use the Bible as our only reference when we're trying to approach situations from logic and reason. I understand that that's your book and that's what you've been told is the book, but it's not the only fucking book. It is only, what, 2,000 years old? And it claims that humanity is only 6,000 years old. Does that even make sense? Do you think humans only been around for 6,000 years? Only a certain group of them, yes. Only a certain group of them. Other humans or other versions of us have been here for way longer than that. But look at the word fallen angel. So these angels, they had different ranks. You already know the story of one of them, the morning star, Lucifer, which is a feminine, by the way. um, Lucifer is Venus, by the way. Venus and Lucifer is the same thing. It's just the shadow of Venus. If you don't know, now you know. See, a lot of people don't know that. Lucifer was the most beautiful angel, right? He wanted to be like God. He was cast out, and one third was also cast out with him, right? Book of Enoch. You guys have to learn symbology. And they were sent down to the earth. And a lot of them are under the Euphrates River. Guess what river is drying up? Right? If you are someone that is looking at biblical prophecy, some of those angels are trapped under the Euphrates. They were trapped under there. That river's drying up. And guess what? People are hearing people screaming, and when they go to caves or holes, they can hear people screaming underground. The fallen angels screaming. I could send. I have videos. I have videos of this. Of people walking in a desert, finding a hole or a cave, and or there was these people. People. There's certain folks, archaeologists. We'll call them to be respectful, nosy folks that like to desecrate shit and dig shit up. They were digging up this area looking for artifacts. Tell me why they found this opening and all they could hear is screaming and howling and some people were like, it's the wind. Are you kidding me? If you hear this shit, it's like it makes your blood curl. And they were like, it's the fallen angels that been locked under there. Because you gotta understand Pakistan, those areas over there, even in Egypt, those areas where it's nothing but sand. These are places that were lush, vibrant. They're sand because they were hit with a nuke. They were nuke. and all life was completely, there's no life growing there because they use nuclear bombs. In the old days, I'm talking about old. Explain to me why scientists have found proof of this radioactive, and they seem, and when they test the sand, it's melted glass, it's glass. They never put that in your books. They never say, why is Egypt just barren? Why is the Sahara Desert or certain parts of certain lands barren when there used to be life there? Because in the Bible, Egypt was not all barren like that because there were wars and they got nuked. But anyways, yeah. So the Euphrates River is drying up, and a lot of people on TikTok specifically, a lot of the Christians are shaking in their boots. The Nephilim shaking in their boots. What would they do if 20 to 30 feet tall humanoids come out and start eating everybody? Shaking in their boots. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're a Christian, you said in your Bible that Jesus died for your sins. So why would you be afraid? You should be fine, right? You're saved. Why would you be afraid? Why would you? I mean, people are on TikTok crying and begging people to get right, and God told me to give you guys a word. It's, we're gonna, all these things is written in the Revelation and it's coming true, and shaking in their boots. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you reacting this way? Your life has been bought. Oh, because you've been sinning this whole time? Drinking and twerking and smoking and doing drugs and fucking and sucking and scamming and stealing and lying? Is that why? I'm just wondering. Because I would have been happy. I would have been like, okay, if this is really the rapture, if this is really the prophecies, I should be fine because I did what I was supposed to do and I'm saved. That's my logic. I don't know about y'all. Do you understand? This is, and I'm talking to the Christians. Wouldn't that be your logic too? Wouldn't you be like, hey, I'm good? Yes, I'm sad because people are going to die, but this was written and this is what was prophesied. You guys needed to get your shit together, and because Jesus died for everybody's sins, which doesn't make sense. But why would God need to come on earth in human form just to die for our sins? Can someone make that make sense? Why would he need to buy our sins? Why do he need to sacrifice? There goes another reference of sacrifice. Why would God, Almighty God, that can do anything and everything, need to come in human form just to die on a cross for our sins? Make it make sense, somebody. Can't. It don't. It won't. Yeah. What they do is their teachings only apply to other people, not them. That's what that is. It doesn't apply to them. It just applies to everybody else. Everybody else. So, you have people that will judge you. Be like, oh, you read tarot, you're going to hell. And then these people smoke and they drink, they get drunk. They do all the shit that they're not supposed to do, right? 10 Commandments. And you got to understand, back to what I was saying before I digressed, there's older books. A lot of these stories, when you start reading older books, you're going to be like, wait a minute, this sounds just like this story. Horus, look up Horus, look up the story of Horus, look up him being born of a virgin. Look at the old pictures of the mother and the child, which represents the Holy Mother, Mother Mary. Look at those old pictures of the Black Madonna. Look at those pictures and look at the history of Horus and read the stories. Read the stories. They are similar. Horus was born of a virgin mother. The only difference in his story is that he was cut up into 14 pieces, 7 feminine, 7 masculine. All of this is symbology. When you read the Bible and understand the symbology, because they wrote it in codes. And remember, the best way to read the Bible is in the Hebrew version. There's so much I don't know. Why are certain books not in the Bible? Why did they not want certain books to be in the Bible? And why they took out a lot of stuff. If you find older Bibles, if you find older Bibles that have certain books in it, like the book of Mary Magdalene or the book of Enoch is the one that everyone knows because he talks about the Watchers. He talks about them teaching us technology and stuff like that. But there's other books. The book of Jasper. There's just a lot. Read the Apocrypha. Research the Gnostic text. The Gnostic texts are the Emerald Tablets. There's more books out there, older, and you are going to see that a lot of these stories. Look, the Hindus have stories of the galactic wars, and their old texts. They talked about how the alien ships were fighting each other in the air, in the sky, shooting each other down. There are so many pictures on ancient carved into stone. Um, Egypt, Samaria, all around the world of people using cell phones and tablets. This is in stone, carved into the stone, of them sitting and using laptops of helicopters and planes and phones and light bulbs and missiles and nuclear bombs. This is nothing new. Why don't they show you that in your books? And even when y'all see pictures, most people are oblivious to it because you've been taught that, oh, this is not possible, that they could not have this technology, that we're the only one to have. Think about it. We're not even technologically advanced like we think we are. I mean, we are more than what they're telling us we are, but not in comparison to the other aliens. Uh, Nothing close. We reverse engineer stuff, yeah. We find stuff that was already here and reverse engineer it. Ships that we find that was already here. What do you think Hitler was doing? Why do you think he was building? He had spaceships. Germany had robots. Like the oh shit. Okay, let me tell you. The Germans had a robot suit similar to one I saw in my dream, but the one in my dream looked more advanced. Did you know that Germans in the 1400s, 15, 1600s, they had robot suits? Did you know that? There's pictures. I was telling, if you're just coming in, I was telling them how they had people. We had water powered cars and electric cars in the 1800s. They have pictures. Have you ever heard of the World Fair? The World Fairs that they had all around Pennsylvania, Chicago, California, Los Angeles, lit up lights, Ferris wheels lit up with electricity. This is even before the light bulb was invented. How do you think they lie so much? Why do you think they do that? You think it's because they for your benefit? I can guarantee you it's the opposite. So a lot of you guys came down to help to change the destiny of the planet, is what Spirit is saying here. And when I was talking about um, looking at the word angel and what it really means, and I talked to you guys about just because a lot of people think that this is what angels look like all the time. No, it's not true. You gotta understand that back in the days of Atlantis, we had half horse people, we had people, you know, half goat. You had half lion people. You had mermaids. Mermaids been around the longest. The oldest first peoples came out the waters first, and then you had the ape ape like people, right? The beings that were like similar to what we call apes nowadays. That those people, but the intelligent there was an intelligent species that lived in the waters, and this is where mermaids and mermen or mer people came from. But again, we have different timelines. Remember that sometimes the timelines don't coexist. That's why it's hard for people to remember. Some people are remembering certain timelines that other people have not experienced. That is the disconnect. That's why some people never heard of Mu or Lemuria or Hyperbola, because they didn't have that experience. And certain people have memories of these places. Some people have memories of Atlantis, and some people don't. Oh, I love the fifth element. Yep. Kal-El. That's the first place you want to start. If you want to like kind of see who they're talking about. But you got to know there's so much at stake and there's so many people involved. You have different species of people, so-called helping Andromedans, the Palladians, the Syrians, the Anunnaki, the different people that you may have heard of. You know, you may have heard of the Lyrans, or you may have heard of the and Lyrans are like cat people. They're the ones that look like cats, lions. You have the people that look like insects, like praying mantis. You have the beings that look like frogs, and they look like frog people. Men, like it's like a humanoid that looks like a frog, and it's walking on two legs. And you have some that look like snakes, and some that looks like dragons, draconians. Those are the ones that are not the nice ones. They're the mean ones. They're the ones that um, do what they do because they feel like they were here first. There was a species of reptiles here, way because, like I told you, the planet is old, 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 and they claim that this is their planet. The original people, the ones that look like us, were dark-skinned people, Negroid people, and then you had other species integrate in. And remember, splicing, and certain um, there were people prior to the splicing. There were Neanderthals here. There were those people. There were different versions. There was different species of what we would call sapien, right? And sapien just means you walk upright. Um, so there was the Neanderthals, and there was those they couldn't get those people to work the way they wanted them to. Neanderthals are very intelligent, by the way. They're not what we think, like they're just cave people. So what happened was they needed our resources and minerals from this planet. They had a lot of stargates. They had a lot of precious metals and stuff they needed to mine from the planet and various other planets like Mars and the moon and stuff. But what they did is they needed to have us um, work efficiently. So they modified us to do that. And they spliced us with animal DNA. This is why people look like animals. This is why when a baby's in the womb, the baby looks like a little tadpole, and then it turns into looking like a little alien thing. It looks like a little baby chicken. It looks like different animals. Have you ever looked at someone and thought to yourself, you look like this dog, or you look like this particular animal? Have you ever seen people that look like rats? I could name one, a very popular celebrity that looks like a fucking rat. Have you ever seen people that look like uh, camels? Popular celebrity. Have you ever seen people that look like lizards or just had certain features about them that resemble animals? It's because they have DNA, animal DNA, just and that was to improve certain things about us, the way we can jump, hops, um, smell, just to make us a little bit better. That's why we have that lizard brain too, because why? Why do you think the lizard brain is there? So yeah, we were modified to be slaves. They call them the Lulus. So they enslaved us, and for a period of time. And this is one time. This is really far back in our history. Um, yeah, they enslaved humans to do certain things, and that's where the modification came in, and that's where um, what the thing is that not all of us were created. We have the original people that were already here. Remember, I talked about this and I said in the beginning, there were already people, original people with original blood. Think of the blood types. Think of how some people have certain blood types. Think about that. If we're all just one species, why do we have different blood types? Think about that. If we're all just the same people, why do we have different blood types? And why some of us have special blood types that can donate to everybody, and certain people can't have babies with other people without getting a shot? Did you know RH negative people, people with that type of blood type, cannot have babies with people because it don't mix? So they got to get a special shot to keep the body from attacking the baby. Did you not know this? No, some of y'all don't. Why do you think that is? If you think that this is far fetched, why do you think everybody is walking around with different blood types? If we're all just the same, we should all have the same blood type. Nope. We got some people that got O blood, which is original blood, that did not get modified too much. That was not part of the group of modified humans. Okay. And then you have another species that came along, and those are the younger humans on this planet. And it's the younger ones that always cause the most problems, right? If y'all want to see some of this stuff that I'm talking about, follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna try to post on my other YouTube account. It's some of the stuff is gonna be really blow your mind. Well, I could post, but basically I would just be reposting other people. But I could post stuff for y'all. Please make sure you donate, um, and like and subscribe and all of that jazz. I didn't get a chance to say any of it, but if you would like to support by liking and subscribing and all that stuff, you can, please. Just because it's always nice to say please, but yeah. Why do you think, and why, and what kind of technology would someone have to be able to do that? It couldn't just be a regular schmegular person. I'm talking about genetics. These are geneticists. These are people that have knowledge, extensive knowledge about DNA, genes, and they could create people. Do you know that scientists can take a bacteria and encode and upload a GIF image to a microbe? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that scientists can upload a GIF, like an actual video clip, onto a microbe or any type of cell? Did you know that they can create cells, program it to what they want the cell to do, how it wants the cell to function, and put it in your body, and have that cell teach other cells or program other cells to function a certain way, and it can control you just by using one cell. Did you know they could do that? Oh yeah, they could do it. Yeah, you heard me. Take them. They could take a bacteria, a microbe, upload or download, however, to it, and hide images and information. So what they're doing now is instead of leaving paper trails, they encode it into their DNA. And they can take it and they can take that file out, like just like they can download, uh, just like you download something to your computer. Because remember, everything that we use it's as above, so below, as within, so without. Computers, where do you think they get the concept from? Cloud, the cloud server, that's the collective mind. I was watching something and they showed it. They showed the bacteria and they showed the video clip that they saved to it. And they said we can make it do anything. We can control a whole human being with one cell. If they want to make you speak a certain way, say a certain thing, be able to, they can control your motor skills, your arms, your legs. They can program the cell to change your facial features, everything. This is real. This is the technology that y'all really need to be looking at what who have they infiltrated to be able to do that to. If they could do it with one cell, imagine what they, and they said all they got to do is inject you with something, inject the cell into your body. So I'm like, inject? Hey, funny. Not funny, ha. Not funny, ha ha. I don't know what it's a little mean recording. Yeah, he said we just got to inject it in you and we can control you. I'm like, wait a minute. How many people got vaccinated? I was thinking about all those fucking people that got vaccinated because they have to inject the cell inside of you. Once they program it, they have to put it in you, and they could tell, and they could tell it what to do. So we can have it do whatever we need it to do, whatever its function, whatever we program and its function to be. That's what it will do, and we can control the vessel with one cell. This is what the scientist was revealing today. They were also showing pictures of everything everything. I wish you guys knew how deep this shit go. The lies, the things that are hidden from us. I guess I'm just gonna have to just share these videos. I've been sharing to certain people certain things, but it's just that this information is a lot. But I'm gonna share stuff to you guys so you guys can see for yourself. I'm gonna share lots of stuff. I'm gonna share stuff that's going to scare you guys, stuff that's going to make you question, like, wow. I just watched a video earlier where I wish my phone wasn't dead. I wanted to show you guys this video actually. This man was walking down the street and this other man comes up to him and tries to take his book bag from him. It's in the middle of the night. So he knocks the guy down and he's trying to pull his book bag. And as he's trying to get the book bag off the guy on the ground, this thing comes out of the guy, like the spirit, monster spirit thing comes out of the man and starts, and like the man was on the floor and the man was slumped over. I don't know if you could see how like this light is coming off of him. The spirit came out. You could see it. You could see that it was two separate. You could see his body and you could see the spirit, but the spirit looked like a smoke kind of. And it came out of the man's body and attacked the guy that was trying to attack the man, and the man ran. And then it went back inside the man, and the man just got up and started walking off. I was like, what the fuck? And I watched it just to make sure it wasn't like CGI or anything. Because, you know, sometimes they could make it look real. And shit was creepy. Right? It is. Like, they should know. Bill Gates said with his mouth that the world is overpopulated and we need to depopulate the world. He said, and the world will be better. He made comments about this. So why would you guys trust anything that he's promoting or selling or creating when he's telling you that He wants to depopulate the planet. Why would you trust that? This man has openly spoke about depopulation. He has had TED Talks. And one of his TED Talks, he said, if we can decrease the population by 1/3, we will see better health, better. He said it backwards. He was like, um, we can have better health care. We could see more healthy. This will change. This will change if we can decrease the population by 1/3. It was backwards. He said it to where if you didn't catch it, you wouldn't notice. He was like, he basically said that we need to kill off this certain amount of people and get the world population down. 1/3 of 7 billion people is a lot of people. I don't know if you're good at math. And then they were talking about how they went over to Africa, and that's what they've been doing for so many years. They test all the medication on those African people, tribes. They go to the tribes, they give them offerings, they give them gifts, they tell them, oh, we're helping. And then they test them. Those are their human trials. And they still do this shit. And then now they have this new thing where people volunteer to be test subjects because they're desperate for money. A lot of people there was this big hype where people were letting these people inject all kind of bullshit in them for some money. Like, do you see how people don't have no kind of self-worth, no kind of nothing for their bodies? That to the point where they were going, answering newspaper ads, going to these facilities, these labs, letting people inject them with foreign stuff, do test trials on medications just for the money. And this was happening like this was happening in, I don't remember what year. This was big. A lot of people were doing this. A lot of people were making videos about how they make $1,000 in a month, $2,000, and they were like, all I do is I go and find these ads, and I go and I just test medication, and people were just doing this shit, and they were getting paid, and I'm thinking to myself, so you basically let them put any old bullshit inside your body just for the money, and you don't care about the effort, and you never seen them again. You can't find some of those videos. You can't even find on YouTube. You can't even find traces of those people. And that's why a lot of you probably never heard of it because they're gone. I'll try to see if I can find any of those old videos of girls that do tests. And this is stuff that people do, like how some people give their plasma for money. I understand sometimes times get hard and you got to do what you got to do. But do you understand that you're giving these people something that is worth more than fucking money that's not backed up by anything? It's just a piece of paper. Do you understand? I mean, but before this became a thing, they were going to third world countries and they were injecting these people with medication. These people didn't know any better. They took it. They gave diseases to these people, man-made diseases, and then claim, oh, it came from a monkey from the jungle. No, bitch, you gave it to them just like you did with the pandemica. You made that. It's a patent. It was a patent created for it. And then they have to tell you the truth. That's why they put it in your cartoons, they put it in your movies, because that's how they justify it. Because they said, well, we didn't hide it from them. If they don't do anything about it, that's on them. And that is kind of true. If you are seeing something and you're not trusting your intuition, you choose to go blindly and follow it, it's on you at this point. That's how they get away with it, beloveds. Because they tell you. They tell you. So therefore, you use your free will. I was spraying this, by the way, just in case y'all think it was a roach spray or something. I was spraying that because I wanted to smell it. Um, you use your free will every day to make decisions and choices. If I blatantly lie to you, then it's on me. You heard the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They get away with it because They put it out there. They don't hide it. Put it out there, and if you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. I'm telling you guys. The Spirit says a lot of you guys are here to help, to fulfill this destiny. Let's finish it up. What's the destiny about? It says slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, Spirit says it's been taking a long time, but we will win. See, it's right there. So that first sentence, slow and steady wins the race. There's a lot of risk that comes with taking on this mission, but yeah, and it is unclear how it will go. It is. There's no guarantees because a lot of people are stuck. But Spirit says, um, use the law of attraction. It says if you have an idea in mind, or you're trying to manifest something, it has great potential for success. And it says here you have natural gifts and talents and abilities. Use them. Use them. Let me go, you guys. Um, I'll start posting some weird shit. I'll start posting some weird shit. We'll start off small. We'll start off small and then we'll build our way up to like more intense shit. I think that the more intense stuff, like the more private, like I won't say private, but there's some stuff that is more censored that will get my channel banned. I have to put that on Patreon. But I'll start off with like stuff like how you can like see like where they're lying, things don't add up. You know, videos and documents that you guys could go look up on your own, right? And I'm just like, I can understand because sometimes it'll be placebo, but you don't know what these people are giving you. You don't know. Come on. They spray our skies. They do so much to us. I mean, it's bad enough that we're being bombarded by low frequency energy waves. It's like we're given cell phones and are basically microwaving us slowly. You know, everything we have around us is to keep us from vibrating at our highest potential. But if you know, you know. Don't be using that deodorant. Don't be brushing your teeth with that fluoride. I even have to get back on my shit because I kind of got complacent. I didn't used to use fluoride toothpaste. All of a sudden I'm using fluoride toothpaste. All of a sudden I'm going back to doing things, eating things that I never used to eat. I ain't never used to eat fast food like that. I ain't never used to eat fast food. The only thing that I probably eat would be like when I was vegan vegetarian is like I'll have a side dish. Excuse me, if I didn't feel like eating a salad, I'll have Chick-fil-A waffle fries almost every fucking day. I did used to eat checkers. I remember I did go, there was a phase where I was budgeting. Like when I say budgeting, I literally used to eat like those. You remember the little $2 box, the box with the chicken bites with the fries? I had that before because that was closest to my job. I'm just thinking of the places that were close. And then the vegan chalupa I'll go and get me one chalupa with beans, lettuce, tomatoes, and then what else? I mean, I'm thinking of the fast foods that I used to eat. Like I would eat fast food, but not like hardcore. I'm eating fast food all the time. Like nah, I cook my food at home, and if I felt like eating, like if I didn't want to eat a salad, or if I didn't want to eat my food, I'll go get me some Chick-fil-A fries. But like when I really want to splurge, I'll go get some Like I remember I would get the Checkers fries. But then when I went back to eating meat, is when I was eating the little $2 box. Yes, a bitch was getting paid decent at my job, but I was a single mom. So when all the bills was paid, she was eating those $2 boxes, and she was losing weight too because that was like at the time it was like my excuse to be like, okay, let me cut down on calories and let me just go ahead and eat this little $2 box. Didn't want to spend too much money on fast food because I was going to end up going home and cooking a meal anyways. So, but I didn't really eat fast food like that back then when I was like on my shit. I'm not talking about when I was just like whatever, just doing whatever I want. But when I'm like really conscious of my health, I would I would have like a cheat day, but I would do a detox right after. You know, like if I had like, let's just say Checkers or something that I know was greasy or high in calories or high in carbs or just something that wasn't like I question, if it's good quality, I'll just detox. I'll just take a detox. And then the next morning is all out. Clean my system all out. That's what I would do. But I would make sure that I would get my veggies and my fruits in, and I eat predominantly fruits. I mean vegetables and fruits. Yeah, vegetables. And then I would just, and then I would do my meditations and all my other stuff that I do, grounding and sun gazing and all that other spiritual stuff. All you got to do is just connect with Mother Nate, connect with Mother, get your feet in the ground so she knows who you are, so that when she's fucking shit up, she don't kill you in the process. I'm so serious. I know I'm laughing like I'm joking, but I'm serious. Go connect. Go connect. Go plant your feet. Literally go, you know how we used to dig holes up in the beach and bury ourselves? Go do that in your backyard. Dig up a little, enough to cover your feet, and sit there and plant yourself like a plant. Get those electromagnetic, get connected and grounded. Get your energy up as high as possible so that if something does happen in your city, you're good. You're not, it's not that you're not going to experience it, but you're going to survive it at least, you know? Yeah, seafood, yeah, but just make sure you try not to get anything farmed because it's like, seafood got parasites and stuff in it. So make sure you're preparing and cooking it real good, real making sure, I mean, we can't escape everything, to be honest. We don't want to live. That's why I say don't live in fear. I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself from time to time. I'm just saying moderation. Just make sure you're eating healthier. And then if you are going to eat fast food, just don't eat it too much because you don't want to know what you don't really know what you're eating. This is why I tell you I don't eat ground meats. And then what I did the other day, I made homemade burgers. I went and purchased the meat. They grounded it. It wasn't like it was grounded, but it wasn't like the typical meat that comes in a tube. This was like the parts of the beef, like the chuck, the parts you make for stew, or like the steak, the leftover steaks. What they'll do is right before they have to mark it as expired, like let's just say if it has 2 days, because they have a certain time frame where they have to put it out and then they have to throw it out. What they'll do is every morning they'll take the meat that has like 2 days left on it to sell it, and they'll grind it up. So she did. That's what she did. I told her I didn't want. I told her I don't eat ground meat, but I told her that my son tends to like to eat from fast food restaurants, and I said I wanted to cook him burgers at home instead of him purchasing it from a restaurant because once again I was on TikTok watching all those nasty ass restaurant videos of the restaurants and how disgusting and dirty they are in the kitchen. So I decided let me just make him some food at home. So I ended up making him burgers. They came out pretty good. And I seasoned it and cleaned it. And I do the way I do my burger meat, you guys are gonna probably think it's weird, but I soak the blood out of it. I don't do blood. So yes, I do get the blood out. I have my own process of doing that, and I always do that with beef. I only eat beef once the blue moon, but if I ever cook beef, I always soak the blood out every single time. I soak it in a big pot of water, and just like you would do with saltfish, get all the. I don't do blood because this is how they feed. When they kill someone and they sacrifice them, the way they feed is they have to get that person to be in so much fear that their body is full of adrenaline or some sort of substance that gets secreted in the body from the fear, and then they kill them, and then that's when they drink the blood, and that's when they get the energy. So the same thing happens with us when we consume food. The blood holds life force. If you eat an animal that was tortured or murdered in an inhumane way, or you eat an animal that was cancerous, you are what you eat. So this is why I soak the blood out, because those cows were slaughtered in fear and anxiety and extreme pain and trauma. I don't want that in my body. That's why I don't eat beef like that. Just to let you know. Yes. So, but I did make burgers, but that's not typical of me. And I was thinking, like, what the fuck? I don't even eat burgers. You can ask my son. I never eat burgers at all, ever. So I was like, whoa. I cooked this, so I ate it, but I wouldn't. I typically don't eat burgers. I just don't like ground meat. I like to see the bone. I want to see what it is. So I stick to chicken and turkey and fish. I got to see the bones. I got to see it so that I could be like, okay, I know what I'm eating. When you're eating ground meats like sausages and I have all this like sandwich deli meat, I was gonna get up and throw it all out because I don't know what that shit is. I tasted it and I'm like, ew, this doesn't taste the same. This is not what because I was thinking about I used to get like the lunch meat from Oscar Mayer, like the turkey, smoked turkey, hickory smoked turkey. And I have a distinct memory of what it tastes like. So I bought it and it didn't taste right. I almost returned it because I thought it was expired. But then I realized that the things that I used to have a taste for don't taste right in my mouth. So it's like it doesn't taste satisfying like it used to because I don't know, my body's changing. My body doesn't want that shit anymore. But I have some lunch meat and I was gonna throw that shit out because I was like, this ain't no different. I don't know what kind of meat this is because I can't see the actual bone. It's just a big lump of meat. Who knows what the fuck I'm eating? I'm not saying that to scare y'all, but I'm just saying don't eat McDonald's for sure. For sure. If you don't want to be a cannibal, don't eat McDonald's. Yes, I'm saying that out loud. Don't eat that shit. And if you eat KFC, just know that just know that you're eating very low quality chicken, but at least you know it's chicken. But you don't know what else they fucking injected into that shit. But the moral of the story is stay on your P's and Q's, watch your diet, do your best you can. I'm not saying change your lifestyle overnight, but do the best you can. Pray and tell God what you need. Just wait and see what happens. You know, but make sure you get prepared, make sure you get flat. There's just some things that you really need. Let me know if you guys want me to create an Amazon favorites so you guys can see the different survival tools you can purchase to have on hand just in case there's an emergency. If you want me to do that, I can create one so that you guys can see. Because there's this light bulb that I told you guys about where you can just put it in water and it continuously recharges itself. It never dies. And it's so bright. So it could power your whole house. I mean, not power your house, that's inaccurate. It can light up your whole house, your whole living room and kitchen. It's very bright. And then they have fire starter kits. They have kits for army kits that have the EpiPen in them, just in case you have some sort of allergic reaction to something. And then they have like inflatable things, like I told y'all, just in case it floods. And then they have the life straw. It's a straw where you can drink out of any canal, lake, river, and it cleanses the water. You don't get sick. So it's like a straw you can drink. Stuff like that. Things like that you're going to need. Certain tablets, certain supplements, and certain tools. Having like a certain tool so that you can, if you have to go in the woods, you need to have a tent. If you gotta go, if you're like I said, if you're stranded, you're on top of your house. You need a life vest. Things like that, life vest. If you're on top of your house, you need to make sure you already have a plan of where you're gonna grab. You have to have that bag already packed and know that you're going to grab it and put it on. I want to get backpacks because I think it's easy. The ones that strap to the front, so that, and I want waterproof, so that if there's a flood, I have the back, I just grab the backpack. It's already done, it's already set up, and I just put it on, me and my son if he's home, and then we can grab tools out as we go. Um, so yeah, I could do that for y'all. If you want it, you gotta vote. You have to let me know because I'm not gonna just do it for one person. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up, you guys. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys got something from this conversation, and I hope it made you start thinking about some things. But remember, you guys have to really get comfortable with helping people. Okay. Um, Bye. I don't know what I just said just now. I hope I said it right. I said you guys have to. I don't know what I just said, but you guys have to help people and get yourself together so you can help someone else. Make sure that you're reading and making sure you're knowledgeable about laws and what can and cannot be done. And yeah, that's it. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.